Oh! Oh, man! What is with all these tornadoes right now? Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here with a brand new thoughts video for all of you guys, and yeah, I'm sorry you actually took the bad time to actually click on this video. I think we're dealing with a bit of tornadoes in this video, to which, yeah, I find it quite surprising. First, a whole swarm of bees showed up when I reviewed Beekeeper. Yeah, when I reviewed the Beekeeper a few months ago, to now dealing with a bunch of tornadoes. Man, it looks like my thoughts videos right now are becoming a riot for sure. So, okay, yeah, Edgar, let's go ahead and bring the tornadoes down a bit. Okay, yeah. Alright, I think we should be alright for now, so. Whew, man. I'm so sorry about that, folks. I really, yeah, I think for some reason, I think I really gotta stop coming up with all these wacky and creative intros in these thoughts videos for sure. But I make no promises for sure, so yeah. Now, before I begin today's thoughts video, and well, quite fitting with, of course, this video for sure, and especially with the intro as of now, yeah, before I can begin today's thoughts video, I figure I need to address something that's actually happened well over a week ago for sure. Now, right around last week, I think I just want to say right now that apparently right around a week ago, as we speak, we actually got hit with a bit of a tornado that came by in my area right around last week at well, pretty much well over 6:30 p.m. in the evening, which, yeah, I find it quite surprising. I mean, at first I thought it was a regular old thunderstorm, but turned out to be much more serious than I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, quite frankly, a tornado did come by and actually pretty much wiped out most of my area for sure. But thankfully, for those who actually are wondering, we are okay right now. Yeah, I think we only lost power for about 18 hours from at the most for sure, right? And of course, let's not forget to mention, pretty much in the pictures I actually took that I'm showing to you guys right now, we had about well over 30 trees right around in our property torn down because of these massive tornado winds for sure. So yeah, I guess you can tell from, of course, these images by far, it is quite devastating for sure. And yeah, I guess, quite frankly, it was, of course, a lot to actually, to handle for sure, so. But luckily enough, we are doing okay as we speak. We did manage to gain power back right around Tuesday afternoon for sure, the day after the tornado came by for sure. And, well, I guess, if anything, I think we're currently in the process to clear out all 30 of the trees that came down for sure, to really get things back to normal for sure. So yeah, you can clearly see that it was, of course, really devastating for sure. And yeah, like I said, I'm doing okay now. Me and my family are perfectly safe. Nothing got damaged, nor even the house was, of course, brought down to the ground because of all this. So yeah, I guess if anything, with the current damage we're pretty much currently suffering through as we speak, and trying our best to clean up for sure. I guess there's literally nothing we can do to really reconcile, of course, all this. But what I can do for the time being is that, well, I would pretty much do what I do normally for sure on this channel now that this whole thing is behind us. So if for some reason this video bombs because of what's happened as we speak, then I'm gonna make myself look like a complete asshole for sure. So I might as well give you guys something for sure. So So yeah, I guess with that being said, given to what I've actually mentioned, it might have a little bit of context with, of course, today's movie that we're finally talking about in today's thoughts videos for sure. So yeah, and of course, with that being said, I think it's about time that we get ourselves in for today's movie we're going to be talking about with one certain subject matter when it comes to movies, and that being, of course, disaster movies. I'm not referring to all kinds of disaster movies for sure. I mean natural disaster movies for sure. So yeah, and I think you know exactly what I mean. Why I actually said natural disaster movies for sure. You definitely name it. People, yeah, pretty much the kind of movies where we see people running for their lives from pretty much every single natural disaster that we actually know of for sure. Yeah, you definitely name it. Volcanoes, earthquakes, floods, shipwrecks, asteroids, tidal waves, and of course, luckily enough with what I mentioned earlier, and within the subject of today's movie we're going to be talking about, that being, of course, tornadoes. So yeah, I guess either way, we do know the old saying when it comes to disaster movies for sure, the more disastrous, the better. So yeah, and sure, yeah, it can be traumatizing for most people when these movies come around for sure. But as long as they can actually deliver something fun and exciting and leave us on the edge of our seats, leaving us absolutely scared of our lives, but in the best possible way, then I think chances are most, if not all, disaster movies for sure can actually be big hits for sure. So yeah, I guess it's pretty much what I could say on, of course, that front. So yeah, I guess with that being said, quite fitting enough, seeing how we did mention tornadoes for sure. Luckily enough, this movie is definitely one of many that actually does feature tornadoes for sure. And, well, I guess it might have a bit of a connection with, of course, a certain tornado movie that came out in right around the 90s for sure that yeah, I guess I'm actually quite surprised to actually finally see this for sure, but you've been quite surprised on what I actually thought about it for sure. So yeah, I guess with that being said, I think we might as well get ourselves in one whirlwind of a thrill ride for sure, as we partake in, of course, the movie we're talking about here today, which is none other than Twister. So yeah, I think it's about time that we finally talk about this for sure. This is not only the latest film that just came out not too long ago, but is also, as the film actually is implying, serving as a standalone sequel to the 1996 tornado flick from back then, which is, of course, Twister. No. Though that game is actually still pretty hot, even to this day. No. The Twister I'm actually referring to is, of course, the 1996 disaster film Twister, which stars Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt for sure. So yeah, that's the Twister I'm actually referring to for sure. But yeah, you kind of get the idea. We're finally talking about Twisters as we speak. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say. Of course, that front. Alright then, so before I could go ahead and talk about this film for sure, I think it makes sense for me to talk about, well, the original Twister for sure, because, hey, I definitely need to do a little something to put the puzzle pieces together for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, Twister from 1996, well, I guess if anything, I do know when it first came out, it was, of course, a massively big hit for sure. Yeah, mainly at the box office, yeah, with the box office numbers becoming one of the highest grossing disaster films of 1996 that year for sure. And of course, yeah, I think a lot of people seem a little split down the middle, or actually really liked the original Twister for sure, but over time, a lot of people have started to notice that the original Twister is actually garnered a lot more hate now compared to back then for sure. I was like, really? I mean, really? Is that what you guys think? So yeah, I guess if anything, but from my perspective for sure, I think when it comes to the original Twister, honestly, I don't really see a big deal, of course, on that front for sure. I mean, I guess if anything, Twister, in my opinion, I kind of thought was okay. I mean, okay, it's not really a great film by all means, but it's not terrible either. I'm kind of half and half, of course, the original Twister for sure. So yeah, what do I mean by this? Well, I guess pretty much of anything, I think I do know if there's anything I can say good about this film is that I do think the special effects, especially with the tornadoes for sure, are actually really, really good for sure. And for 1996 special effects wise for sure, yeah, I think they actually really did pull off, of course, on how well they did with the tornadoes for sure. So yeah, I guess that's one thing I can praise the original Twister for sure. And for the stuff I hate about that Sega flick, well, I guess if anything, pretty much, don't get me wrong, I think I know pretty much two of the actors involved, Helen Hunt and the late Bill Paxton for sure, to which, by the way, rest in peace on the lagger for sure. Yeah, I guess if anything, if there's one thing I hate about Twister for sure is that I absolutely hate Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt's characters constantly arguing a whole lot. I mean, really? Really? Is that the one thing that comes into your mind when you think of a tornado movie? Couples arguing? I mean, really? Yeah, I guess you could clearly tell on how pissed off I am on that, because yeah, why on earth would you actually focus mainly on a couple arguing in a movie about tornadoes? Why would you think that would be a good idea? Because I don't think it does for sure. I mean, really? That is actually the most terrible idea I've actually seen in any disaster movie in the history of ever. Fake! But yeah, you kind of get the idea for sure. Despite all of that for sure, I definitely do think the original Twister, in my opinion, I kind of thought was okay in my opinion. I mean, it's not great nor even terrible for sure. I kind of thought it was alright for sure. But hey, I do acknowledge it. It was, of course, a big hit at the time for sure, and it is totally understandable, of course, all that for sure. And I do know a lot of people do like it fine, and that's okay for sure. So, but for me, I actually kind of thought it was a decent enough disaster flick for what it is for sure. Which is funny because it did come out around in the 90s for sure. So I guess we kind of expected that for sure for any disaster movies that came out in the 90s for sure. So. But I'm getting way too ahead of myself for sure, so yeah. But of course, if you can imagine, I think given to that mindset alone, when I actually first saw the trailers for, of course, this new Twister sequel that they're actually putting out for sure, I wasn't really that excited to actually see it for sure. In fact, I actually kind of thought it was gonna be one big massive suck fest of a movie for sure. That's just pretty much banking in on the pretty much on the original Twister name for sure, just for the hell of it for sure. So yeah, I guess you can tell right away. I think I knew from the trailers. I thought it was gonna suck big time for sure. yeah, I think that's pretty much what I could say on, of course, that front, but hey, give it to that mindset alone. I still want to give it a fair shot, just to see on how it'll go for sure, despite all that hands down for sure, and of course it may be a little ironic for me to actually talk about this movie, given to, well, we've actually suffered through our own tornado not too long ago for sure, so... Hey, regardless on that, I still want to give it a fair shot just to see on how it'll go for sure. And, well, luckily enough, just right around earlier today, right around the time I'm recording this thoughts video, I did manage to get myself back over to Crown City Cinemas, as always, to officially go and see this movie for myself for sure, because... yeah, quite frankly enough, I'm actually quite surprised that it's already garnered some pretty good reviews from critics as we speak for sure, which, wow. Yeah, I mean, just wow, so... But yeah, regardless on that, I did manage to get myself in to go and see this film for myself, and... well, now that I've officially got back from, of course, seeing it, I bet a lot of you guys may be wondering, what do I think of this movie now that I finally got the chance to see it? Well, I'm not gonna lie. I think this movie actually proved me wrong. Yeah, I'm completely serious. Yeah, this movie actually proved me wrong. Yeah, and yeah, I guess in the end, I thought it was actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm completely serious. I actually really do like this movie for what it is, and yeah, I think that's probably the best way I can actually put it for sure. This is not only a really good, pretty much a really good, pretty much a tornado movie on its own, which I really do admire that it's actually gone the way you want it to go, but it actually does do a fine job in actually standing out on its own, pretty much compared to the original Twister for sure, so yeah, I guess that's probably the best way I can actually put it for sure. It's not only a really good, pretty much a really good follow-up to the original Twister for sure, but it also stands out quite well on its own as its own tornado movie for sure, So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. And yeah, this movie actually did prove me wrong in what I originally thought was gonna be. And yeah, I actually really do like it for sure. Man, if I had a nickel for every single time I thought a movie is going to suck based on what I've actually seen in the trailers, only to find they actually gave us a really good movie when I actually finally saw it, I would have been filthy rich as we speak, so... But yeah, you kind of get the idea, of course, that front. That actually does show on how much I really like this movie for sure, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Okay, I guess I'm done with that. Alrighty then, so yeah, now that I've actually got the short version out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about everything that I need to talk about with, of course, this film. For starters is, of course, the story, and with, of course, what I'm actually seeing, I really do like what they were trying to go for with, of course, this movie for sure. It's actually pretty straightforward in my opinion, and yeah, I think pretty much if anything it does follow through on, of course, what it needs to do as its own thing, while at the same time only acknowledging a little bit of course, the original Twister for sure. And I do mean that with, of course, a little bit of callbacks and references and even stuff that we've actually seen in the original movie for sure, to which thankfully, I actually do think that's actually a good thing, and I'm glad they didn't actually, they didn't incorporate all the things from the original Twister into this one for sure. They only brought in only the little basics for sure to really try and make this movie pretty much acknowledge that it's actually pretty much serving up as the follow-up to a Twister for sure, but it also wants to do its own thing as its own tornado movie for sure, and I really do admire, of course, what they actually did for, of course, this one for sure, and I do follow through on, of course, what goes on for sure, and I do understand pretty much with everything that's happening around us for sure to really help acknowledge almost everything that actually goes on for sure. So yeah, I guess that's what I could say, of course, on that front for sure. I really do admire on what they actually did with the story for, of course, this movie that I couldn't help but get myself into rather flawlessly for sure. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, there are a few bumps every once in a while for sure, but I really do like on what they've actually gone for with, of course, this one, So yeah, that's pretty much what I could say for the story for, of course, this one for sure. Now, as for, of course, another aspect for this movie, which is, of course, the writing for sure. Yeah, that too I will have to say, I do think they actually crafted a pretty good screenplay with, of course, this one for sure. Yeah, I mean, again, there are some parts that I do think could have been written out a little bit better for sure, and maybe I think a little bit of a tweaking here and there for sure, but I really do like what they actually did when they wrote this movie all together, and yeah, I really do think they really pulled it off quite well for sure, and I mean, yeah, it's not great by all means, but I do think it's actually pretty good for sure, and plus, pretty much every few minutes, yeah, I actually got myself laughing at a good number of jokes they actually put into, of course, this one for sure, and yeah, that's another thing I really do like about this one for sure. I really do like the really nice comedy they actually put into, of course, this one. And again, every few minutes I actually find myself laughing at the jokes because of how good they are for sure. So yeah, really quite amazing that they really want to really pretty much ramp things up a bit to really make the tornado pretty much the tornado racing for sure all the more exciting for sure, and yeah, I really do like on what this movie has done to actually accomplish that quite well for sure. So yeah, I think that's what I could say, of course, that front for sure. So yeah, I do think the story, the writing, and the comedy, I have to say, are actually done pretty good for sure. Do they need proper adjusting to make it more fantastic? Yeah, pretty much for sure, but I think with what they actually did for sure, I really do like on what they've actually done to make this movie actually really fun and exciting for sure. Not fully, but I really do like on what they actually did to actually make it good for sure. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, so now that I've got those out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the next couple of things I need to talk about for sure, which are, of course, the characters, and yeah, I guess with, of course, what I've actually seen by far, I do think the characters in, of course, this movie, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I actually do think they are actually really good characters for sure, yeah, I mean, they're not great from what I've actually seen, but I do think they're actually quite good. Probably, I guess, my main reason for that alone for sure is mainly because I really do like the really good sense of development they've actually give to all these characters for sure, like pretty much on what their backstory is like, on how they dealt with tornadoes and what got them into pretty much studying and experiencing tornadoes out in the field for sure, and yeah, stuff like that, and of course with a bit of character development they also throwing in for sure. That actually does help them make them likable and interesting for sure. And when you see them on screen and experience these tornadoes for themselves for sure, you really do feel like they're really in the action, pretty much experiencing those for themselves, while also being in a parallel situation that pretty much they know hands down they're gonna try their best to get out of alive for sure. So yeah, stuff like that really does help make the characters all the more compelling, in my opinion. I really do like what they actually did for sure. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I can say for, of course, the characters for sure. Now, as for the actors that came on board to play all these characters, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I really do think they pulled off some pretty good performances, in my opinion. I'm not even joking when I say pretty much they actually got some pretty good good actors involved with some pretty nice casting for sure. And yeah, you can definitely tell from their performances for sure. They're really having the time of their life while making this movie for sure. Yeah, almost like pretty much actual tornado hunters going out to find tornadoes for themselves for sure. Which I think is actually quite fitting for sure. Like, of course, you can tell on how excited they are. You can see how terrifying and scarred they are for sure. I really do like these nice, good sense of emotions they actually give to the actors for sure to make their performances all the more good for sure. And I really do like what they actually did entirely, which I really do admire for sure. But I guess if anything, I really do admire the three main leads for sure that really sold this movie quite well for sure. Like, of course, Daisy Edgar Jones and Anthony Ramos, I definitely do think really gave out good performances for sure in this movie, which I really do admire for sure. But there's no doubt in my mind that I think the crowning moment of all that in giving off a really great performance, in my opinion, it would definitely have to go to Glenn Powell in this movie for sure. Yeah, to me, I think Glenn Powell is actually a yeah, I do know he's a really talented actor and has been in other movies in the past, but I know hands down this movie, he gave off a really great performance, in my opinion, for sure. Like, whenever you see him on screen, you definitely know he's a lot of fun to watch, for sure. So yeah. I guess if anything, those are pretty much what I can say for all the actors for sure. They all gave off some good performances for sure. But to me, I think it's definitely Glenn Powell who pulled off a really great performance, in my opinion, while Daisy Edgar Jones and Anthony Ramos still gave out some good performances that I really do admire for sure. So yeah, I think that's what I could say, of course, on that front. Yeah, I really do like how well developed the characters are, and I really do like the performances the actors gave, which, yeah, I do think it's actually pretty good for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so now that I've actually got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about for sure? Actually, a whole lot for sure, because, yeah, there's a lot to go through with this movie for sure. And seeing how I dig admit the original Twister has gave off some really good visuals and special effects for sure. That's one other thing I should mention, of course, this film for sure, because, yeah, compared to the original Twister for sure, yeah, the visuals and the effects, and of course, Twisters for sure, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely love the effects in the original Twister for sure, and I can definitely say the same thing for this movie for sure. Yeah, I guess if anything, the visuals and the special effects they actually dig in, of course, this film for sure, Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I do think it is actually brilliantly well done for sure, and they actually do look amazing for sure. Yeah, everything that, from what I've actually seen, actually blends in quite well with our everyday surroundings for sure, and moreover, I definitely do think the tornadoes, of course, this movie for sure, they actually do look amazing for sure, like, yeah, like whenever you see them on screen and see our heroes actually encountering them for sure, you really do feel like they're really there and they're actually happening for sure from what I've actually can gather for sure. And yeah, I guess if anything, I think they really did a great job being making the tornadoes actually look great for sure. Yeah, not only pretty much visually breathtaking whenever you see it far away, but also pretty scary and terrifying up close for sure. So yeah, I think it really does help compel this movie even further to actually make it stand out a whole lot more for sure. And plus, even the sound design from what I can gather from, of course, pretty much the sound effects they added in for pretty much the tornadoes and every single pretty much single bit of debris and stuff hitting stuff and every single bit of watching destruction for sure. Yeah, I think they really did an incredible job with, of course, all that for sure. And oh yeah, let's not forget to mention the way they incorporate a little bit of the music and the soundtrack for sure. I do think helps blend in quite well with everything that goes on throughout the course of this movie for sure. Although I guess if anything, I really do love the song Ain't No Love in Oklahoma by Luke Combs for sure. That alone I definitely do think is what really made the soundtrack, of course, this movie stand out quite well for sure. Which, by the way, you should definitely look up that song for sure. It's actually really quite catchy. It has a really good beat for sure. But yeah, I think that's what I can. That's pretty much what I can say for all those aspects for sure. So yeah. Anyways, let's move on. So yeah, and of course, we might as well move on to the direction in this film, to which, by the way, I should actually mention, this film is, of course, directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who actually directed the Oscar-nominated flick a few years ago, which is, of course, Miari, which, by the way, you should definitely check out for sure. I do hear it's really good for sure, and yeah, I guess, if anything, Lee Isaac Chung actually did give off some pretty good direction, of course, this film for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not really anything that great like his last film, which again was nominated for several Oscars, including Best Picture for sure. But I definitely do think pretty much Lee actually did pull off some pretty good direction, of course, this film for sure, that I can't help but admire from what I've actually seen, and yeah, I guess if anything, it could use pretty much a bit more to make it fantastic for sure, but of course, if anything, Lee Isaac Chung actually did pull off some pretty good direction, of course, this film for sure, to really make it stand out quite well for sure, and I really do admire the commitment he actually did to make this movie work for sure, that I can't help but actually admire for sure. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. And I guess if any, and I guess to top it all off, the cinematography in this film, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. I think it's actually really fantastic for sure. With every single camera shot from what I can actually gather, actually being really good for sure, and really does help pretty much blend in with, of course, everything that goes on for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, I love the cinematography in this film, and they actually provide some really great camera shots that really work quite well for sure. So, yeah. And of course, the A-ing, I have to say, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. I do think it's cut up perfectly through some fantastic A-ing for sure. And I really do admire the nice bit of tricks and stuff to actually make pretty much make the A in this film work a whole lot more. And I really do think they really pulled it off quite well, and of course this one, and I really like on what they've actually done for sure. So yeah, I think that's what I can say, of course, that front, and of course the tonguing atmosphere for sure. I definitely do think is actually really brilliantly well done for sure, and I love, of course, what they actually did to actually make it work for sure. Like pretty much whenever something terrifying happens, whenever a tornado actually comes by for sure. It definitely knows how to do that, but at the same time, it does know to calm itself down to focus more on the characters for sure, to which I definitely do think also worked for sure, and I really admire, of course, what they actually did for sure. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what I could say for all those aspects in a nutshell for sure. But I guess moreover, I really do think they pulled it off quite well with, of course, pretty much acknowledging, of course, a little bit of the original Twister movie for sure. But thankfully not fully entirely, but mainly, of course, it wants to stand out on its own just fine for sure. And I really do think this movie really accomplished that quite well for sure. So yeah, I guess with all those aspects alone, I think it pretty much does show for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so overall, yeah, I guess there's no doubt in my mind, Twister, I definitely do think is actually a pretty good follow-up to the original Twister movie for sure, but it also does do a fine job being pretty much doing its job on its own as its own tornado flick for sure, which in the end actually makes it a pretty good movie for sure. So yeah, is it Die Hard fantastic? No, but I can't pretty much I can't be mean and actually say that I absolutely hate this flick for sure. But I definitely do think it's actually pretty much a really good movie for sure that I can't help but actually get myself into just fine for sure, and I think it pretty much did the job on what it needs to do. It needs to stand out just fine on its own as its own flick for sure, while acknowledging a little bit of the original Twister for sure, to which I really do think they pulled it off quite well for sure, and yeah, in the end, actually does make it, well, not really a great movie in my opinion, but definitely does make it a pretty good one that I can't help but admire for sure. And yeah, I do find it quite surprising for me to say that, because yeah, I guess I knew from the trailers I wasn't really expecting to like this movie for sure, and I guess if anything, given to all that for sure, I think it still leaves me asking the one question, where is the ghost of Bill Paxton when we need him? But no, apparently it proved me wrong, and in the end, we actually got ourselves a pretty good movie for sure. And you know, if I had a nickel for every single time I was proven wrong about a movie I thought was going to suck based on what I've actually seen in the trailers, only to find it's actually a pretty good movie once I finally see it on the big screen, I would have been filthy stinking rich for sure. But hey, I know that's happened to me a whole lot for sure, so yeah, I guess if anything, given to all that, maybe I would have been filthy rich if I had a nickel for every single time I was proven wrong for sure. But hey, what can you do for sure as hell? But yeah, I guess if anything, I can't say Twisters is by all means a great movie for sure. But I definitely do think it's actually good enough for me to say, yeah, I think this is definitely well worth the watch for sure as hell. So yeah, I guess if anything, I can't necessarily say it's a fantastic flick all the way, but I do think it's actually one that I do think is actually worth the recommendation regardless for sure, so. And yeah, I think it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. A pretty good tornado flick on its own, but a pretty good follow-up to an already decent tornado flick from the 90s for sure. And thank God it didn't repeat the whole couples arguing big for sure, because, yeah, even if they did incorporate that, then I would have hated this movie even more for sure. But I'm glad they didn't for sure, and yeah, in the end, they actually gave us a pretty good movie for sure, so yeah, I guess if it's something up your alley for sure, then I say this is definitely well worth checking out for sure. Trust me when I say that once you actually do see this movie, well, to take a little away, pretty much to take something away from, of course, Glenn Powell's character in the movie, if you feel this movie, then you should chase it for sure, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front for sure. Not necessarily great for what it is, but I definitely do think Twisters is definitely a pretty good movie that I know you should definitely chase down for sure, much like an actual tornado on its own, so yeah, for my final score, yeah, I'll be nice on this one, and I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10 as my final score for sure. Like I said, I can't necessarily say it's a great movie for what it is, but I definitely do think it is actually pretty good for sure, and yeah, actually pretty much gave us a pretty good follow-up to the original Twister, to which, yeah, my point still stands. I definitely do think it's actually a pretty decent flick, just on its own for sure. And it's definitely like what I thought about Top Gun Maverick a couple of years ago for sure. The original Top Gun is good for what it is, but the sequel really gave us something great for sure. So I could definitely make the same argument for, of course, Twisters for sure. The original Twister is a decent tornado flick on its own, but this movie is actually really good, and I definitely do think it's definitely well worth the watch for sure. So yeah, I was really quite surprised that I really like this movie, and yeah, I'm glad it did. It actually gave me a pretty good time for sure, and not to mention a pretty good coping mechanism to what we've actually been through for sure, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say about this movie in the end for sure, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so I guess on that thought, that'll pretty much do exactly that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and by all means, what do you guys think of Twisters if you've actually seen it? Do you actually really like it, and you would actually prefer that over Twister for sure, or do you absolutely hate it and think it's even worse than Twister for sure, or are you somewhere in between where you kind of thought it was okay for sure? So yeah, let me know in the comment section below on what you thought of Twisters if you've actually seen it. I would definitely love to know on what you guys think. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and well, I guess now that I got that out of the way, I wonder what will be next for, of course, this one. Wait a minute. I just remembered something. Can we actually show the poster for what we're actually going to talk about in the next thoughts video for sure. Yeah, there we go. Oh boy, I've been waiting a long time ever since the start of this year for this to come around, and looks like it's finally happening for sure. So yeah, tune in next time, every peoples, where of course we're finally gonna talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Excuse me while I withhold my enthusiasm for, of course, this one. But yeah, this is actually gonna be really exciting. I can't wait for that. So yeah, definitely tune in to the next thoughts video for that for sure. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and ooh, I can't wait. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427TheThomasFan1 to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications, and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427TheThomasFan1 Productions, for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, backley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more, in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/AckleyattackTV/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.